Welcome to From the Quarries. We're going through a bit of what these days is called a weather event, but in the old days would have been called a torrential downpour where I am at the moment, so I hope there's not too much background noise during this recording. We've had a lot of questions and comments on the website and on the YouTube channel in the last few weeks, so thank you very much to everybody who's giving feedback. It's really delightful to see it. I'm being asked a lot of questions and a lot of requests for specific videos about specific topics, and I'll try and answer those as quickly as I can and try and get some content up. One of the questions I get asked a lot though, which is really refreshing, is from people who are not yet members of the craft, asking what Freemasonry is all about. To that end, tonight's presentation is called Frequently Asked Questions about Freemasonry.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's presentation, From the Quarries, an archive of Masonic lore.
What is Freemasonry? Freemasonry has been around for over 300 years, and it has evolved as it spread around the globe. The basic principles are always the same, but the implementation might vary slightly from country to country or state to state. Bearing that in mind, one short definition of Freemasonry, or Masonry, is that it is a system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. A longer definition would be that it is a society of men concerned with spiritual values, a fraternity that teaches its precepts by a series of ritual dramas which follow ancient forms and use stonemasons' customs and tools as allegorical guides. Is Masonry a religion? No, it's not. Masonry requires that its members believe in a supreme being, but leaves the definition of that supreme being to the individual. It welcomes Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, and members of any other religion. It has no dogma of its own, no religious teachings. It doesn't offer salvation or redemption. Such matters are left entirely to the individual Mason and to the religion to which he belongs. Is Masonry a charity? Not as such. It's an institution that promotes charity and charitable work. Many lodges contribute regularly to charitable organisations or do voluntary work for local causes, such as schools, hospitals and so on. But Masonry itself is not a charity. Can anyone become a Mason? There are a few basic requirements. 1. You're an adult male, usually over the age of 18 to 21, of good character and recommended by another Mason. 2. You believe in a supreme being as defined by your own particular religious belief. And 3. You are interested in becoming a Mason because you hold a favourable opinion of the institution, and your decision to apply is based on your own free will and accord. No one will compel you to join. It's your decision. How do I become a Mason? You become a Mason by joining a lodge. In large cities, there can be dozens of lodges. In rural areas, there may be only one or two. The first step is making contact. If you know a Mason, just ask him about his lodge or about Masonry in general. He'll be happy to help. If you don't know a Mason or don't know the location of a nearby lodge, go online and search for the Grand Lodge of your state, province or country. Drop them an email and they'll tell you what lodges there are in your area and will put you in touch with a representative. The important thing to bear in mind is that you have to take the first step. How do I join a lodge? If you've made up your mind that you want to become a Mason, the next step is to find 2 Masons who are willing to sponsor you and submit what's called a petition to their lodge. Petition is just a fancy word for application form. What happens next can vary from place to place, but usually the lodge will want to find out more about you and your motivation for joining. This could take the form of a friendly chat, or it could be a formal interview. If the Masons who talk with you feel that you'd make a good fit for their lodge, your petition will be put to a secret ballot at a lodge meeting. If that ballot is favourable, you can then receive the first of the 3 Masonic degrees. What are the degrees? The old stonemasons, on whom masonry is modelled, had various ranks depending on their skill as craftsmen. Modern masonry has 3 such ranks or degrees: entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason. Each degree consists of a ceremony in which the candidate is taught the significance of that degree and the symbols and moral precepts associated with it. Are the degrees secret? They're secret insofar as the degree ceremonies are not open to the public. Only the members of the lodge can take part, or visiting Masons from other lodges. Anyone interested in the degrees can visit the library or go online and will soon enough find out all about them. Are there secret handshakes? Yes, they're one of the traditions that Masonry has inherited from the old stonemasons who built cathedrals and palaces. In the same way that a modern electrician or plumber or other skilled tradesman has an ID to prove they're qualified to do the job, the old stonemasons recognised one another by passwords and handshakes. Masons today continue this tradition by having passwords and handshakes that identify an entered apprentice, a fellow craft, or a master mason. Are there secret higher degrees? No. Masonry has only 3 degrees: entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason. There are other institutions that have a similar system of degrees or grades. Some have 32 or 33, and some have as many as 96 or even more. Some Masons join these other institutions, but the degrees are in no way higher. They're often called appendant degrees, meaning attached to, but this label can be misleading. The 3 degrees of Masonry are not attached to anything. What will happen if I become a Mason and then decide to quit? Absolutely nothing. In the same way that joining up is up to you, so is leaving. You can make it short by just walking away, or you can take the recommended path, which is by telling the secretary of your lodge that you'd like to quit. He won't try to stop you. Instead, he'll offer to give you what's sometimes called a demit, or a certificate of good standing. If you so choose, you can use that demit to return to Masonry at a later date. I'm interested in Masonry, but I'm busy with work and family. What should I do? Talk it over with a Mason. He'll understand your situation and will advise you. Masonry does require a certain level of commitment with regard to time and expense. Lodges usually meet once a month, though it can be less and it can be more. Some meet in the evenings, some in the daytime. All lodges charge a fee for initiation, like an enrolment fee, and then an annual fee, like a subscription. These fees are listed in the bylaws of each lodge and have to be approved by Grand Lodge. Your Masonic contact will explain all these to you and will help you decide whether to go ahead with your application or whether to wait until things settle down for you. What is a Grand Lodge? A Grand Lodge is the governing body that supervises the Masonic activities of lodges in its area. Grand Lodges are usually defined geographically, with one for each state, province, district, or even country. Every Masonic lodge belongs to a Grand Lodge from which it derives its authority or charter to confer degrees. I'm a woman, why can't I become a Mason? The short answer is that you can. Traditional Masonry dates back 300 years and was created as a fraternity meaning an association of men. Ever since then, Masonry has accepted only male candidates. However, as Masonry has spread and evolved, many women have expressed an interest, and there are now non-traditional lodges that accept only women, or accept both men and women. Some of these female or mixed lodges practice the same Masonry as traditional lodges, while some have slightly different degrees and rituals. The important thing to remember is that traditional Masonry doesn't recognise the non-traditional lodges. It's a little bit like one country not having diplomatic relations with another. I hope this has answered the most common questions that people ask. If you have any other questions about Freemasonry that I haven't covered in these FAQ, please feel free to drop me a comment and I'll see if I can respond as quickly as possible. Thanks for your time.
For more Masonic podcasts, videos, music, texts, and artwork, visit fromthequarries.com or subscribe to our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook accounts by searching From the Quarries.